Have you ever gone out to play with your drone? You charge it fully when you stored it, and then when you're flying around, you get like half the battery that you usually get, half the range and runtime, and you're like, what the heck happened? There's something very important going on, and it is designed into the system. So there's five things about the battery systems of the DJI mini drones that you need to know about. Okay, so the number one thing you gotta know about these batteries when they say they're intelligent batteries is that they discharge themselves. They really do. So any battery on the mini or even the bigger drones, basically what they have is some intelligence to protect themselves. So you fully charge it, it's 100% charged. If you don't use it within 24 hours, it's gonna drop and discharge itself to 96%. Because when it's fully charged, that's when it experiences the most degradation of the cells. So say, hey, to prolong my life, I won't stay at 100%, I'll go to like 96%. And so I'm not sure it's just absolutely necessary, but that's what they do. And then the bigger issue is after 5 days, if you don't use it, it's going to go down to 60%. Crazy, huh? So it just does it by itself. I think it does it even when the drone's not turned on, when it's not connected to anything. It's alive the whole time. It's monitoring itself, and it discharges itself with heat. So it'll heat itself up a little bit. It'll drop slowly, and you expect 100%, and now it's 60%. So there's your marks right there. 1 day and 5 days, it's going to discharge itself. Number two thing you need to know about these drones is there's some very handy tools about the battery status. Number one is right on your home screen right here. You could see the number. So, 4 bars is interesting, but you can't really tell. It's 25%, 50%, 75, and 100. It's somewhere in between those. But right here is a number from 1 to 100 of percentage of battery left. And if you press it, then you get some real information, especially when you're flying. When you're flying, it's going to tell you, hey, I got 20 minutes left of flying before I ask you to return home, or I got 23 minutes left before I force the landing. So very important information right there. Very tiny font, unfortunately, but real handy information. The other part of the information right here, you hit the three ellipses in safety. So you scroll down, you have battery info. Battery info is cool. If you press it, it tells you about your battery. It tells you that, hey, it's your voltage is 8.19 volts, and it's 4.1 on one side, 4.09 on the other side. So what this is telling you is 8.19 is a full battery. A lipo is 8.4 volts because there's two cells. So that's how far you are from full. Uh, and then you'll see the voltage on each battery. In these LiPo batteries, it's quite important that they're balanced. When they're not balanced, you lose a lot of runtime, and they become in danger of degradation, of difficult charging. So you want them to be equal, and the charger balances them every time you charge them. All right, the third thing you need to know about these batteries is DJI makes claims about their flight time: 34 minutes for the stock battery, 45 minutes for the plus battery. But they really claim it for ideal conditions. And the ideal conditions they're claiming are 13 miles an hour of speed, of constant moving, no hovering allowed, and zero wind. So it's an unrealistic ideal world solution, kind of like the EPA mileage of your car. So it's just a guideline for comparison, but it really doesn't work that way. The other thing you need to know about, so when you're hovering, or when you're going faster, you do less battery. But when you are hovering, typically you use 15% more battery than when you are in motion, because there's no aerodynamics. Basically it's a helicopter. The drone just has to lift itself up. Okay, the fourth thing you should know about these drones is a lot of your time is spent hovering, a little bit of moving around, but you're taking pictures, you're making movies. So at hover, I actually measured these two things. So with the stock battery, it is 22 minutes at a complete hover, no moving around, no wind, just hovering. And then with the the plus battery, the bigger battery, it is 30 minutes and 38 seconds is what I got. So pretty darn cool. So I highly encourage you to get the plus battery if you want half-hour run times on your drone. And the last thing I want to tell you about these batteries is charging. Charging is done by, on the drone or with an extra pack, a charging pack that you can buy. But so typically most of you will just charge them in the drone like this. And what I wanted to impart with you guys is there's two ways of charging them. One is with USB-C to a pure USB-C, and then the other one is with the USB-A to USB-C wire that you typically find in your phones, your GoPro. So this is a GoPro connector because the USB-A is more common. So one thing you need to know about is the USB-A, for the ones with the big plug, they're not as powerful. So I'm going to turn it on. I'm going to charge this right here. So after you plug it in, it's going to monitor itself. You got to give it some time. And then you'll see uh, with this metric rate, it's drawing 10 watts of energy from a battery source or USB plug. Okay, the other mode of charging is with a pure USB-C to USB-C, and this can handle more watts. So you need a good source, more than you need, and then the charger in the drone is going to draw what it can handle. So you plug it in, and sometimes this can take a while it's doing its testing, its thinking. And right here, you're going to see the draw: 9 watts, 10 watts, 11 watts, and I believe thing is going to stop at 30 watts. So there you go. Just with a different connector, same source. Uh, this thing does 30, and this thing does 10 watts. So this thing will take an hour, 70 minutes for the USB-C, and it would take 3 to 4 hours with the USB-A to USB-C. So definitely use your USB-C plugs and connectors. All right. Thanks a ton, everybody.